Today we are going to be looking at a book titled 0 to 1, and this book is meant to teach us or explain how to start a business from a general startup which most of us have no idea of. And this book was written by Peter Thiel, one of the major CEO and founder of PayPal. He also worked with Steve, and Steve was one of the person that established YouTube, and he also worked with Hoffman. Hoffman is the person who is the co-founder of LinkedIn, and we also have Elon Musk, the co-founder of Tesla and SpaceX. So let's get straight into the video. So Peter Thiel said when starting up a business, the first and major thing to focus on is the progress of the business. And he said the progress of the business should be vertical and not horizontal. And he said an horizontal progress is basically what we see in our everyday life. And he gave example of, let me say, drinks, or a good example is drinks. When you say a particular drink of Fanta, then some people refine it, produce their own same drink, but it's still the same industry with the same product. The only difference between them are their range of prices. So it's as if you are refining another person's product and adding 2 or more things or removing 2 or more things. Why for the vertical progress? Vertical progress has to do with creating a brand new thing that does not exist. And he gave a good example of Elon Musk, such as his Tesla cars, his SpaceX. His Tesla cars, when he started, he majorly focused on generating electric luxury cars. So that was a very small proportion of business-oriented persons that were involved in that thing, and which they were not well known. And also, the SpaceX has to do with rockets that where they are launched and they can land back. So that was a business from 0 to 1. Another example is Airbnb. Airbnb has to do with getting you a convenient places, or getting you, once you are going into a new country or a new place, they give you access to the basic things that you need in your environment. And also Amazon. When Amazon started, they were traditional bookstores, but then they refused to go traditional. They went plainly online, giving their customer access to a large content of books in all different nations. So that was an example of 0 to 1 business. And he said the only reason why these people were able to accomplish this was because they went against the general belief that people have. The second major point Peter explained in his book is that monopolies are good. Monopoly by the book simply means someone is doing something far better than the rest, which is better for everybody. And he said an example of monopoly is something that should be encouraged in the society because it breeds room for people to think larger. And he gave a good example of Google. He said back then when we had to make research, it was very difficult for people to get needed information. So Google came in place, so we don't have to search dictionaries for unnecessary stuff, read excessive newsletter for unnecessary stuff. Now we even have a better current one in even our age, which is known as ChatGPT. It gives you exactly the answer you want and for the question you want. Peter also said to ensure that your monopoly does not crash, the first and 3 major things you have to do is that number 1, you want to be sure you know your partners. So the people you are working with, you want to ensure you know them very well. And he gave an example is that you don't want to first marry the first person you meet, because that does not make sense, because you have not gotten to know the person. So that's the same thing the way business is. And he also gave an example. The second example he gave has to do with identification. He said let your team and your teammates have a recognition or have a symbol which unites all of them. And he gave an example of people that are working in tech. He said most people that are working in tech, they usually claim they don't have symbol, they are home free. But truthfully, when you see them come together, no matter how much or no matter what they are doing, there's always a logo that signifies they are working with this industry or with this company. And the last major point he gave concerning that was that when you are building a monopoly, make sure the person you are working with as a founder in the first 2 or 3 years is not paying himself more than $100 to $150. That should be within the range of, let me say, 10 to 50 million, because in that kind of range, the person is just consuming the profit of the company, which is going to later hinder the growth. And the last major point he gave is that founders need balance between product and sales. And he said when it comes to product, is as important as the sales of the team. And he gave a good example of Facebook. He said the more Facebook gain people, or the more people get into Facebook as a social media network, the more valuable they become, because it gives them access to multiple persons, and these individuals are connected to a lot of persons. Comparing yourself to just a cell phone whereby you're only connected to a person you make call with once. But on Facebook, you get connected to multitude of persons at the same time. And said to the way to ensure that the sales does not increase is that you need to be able to pick quality people. So when you're advertising, that means when you are working with people, those are sales. You are selling your company. When you are recruiting someone, when you are getting someone on your team, you want to ensure you are getting the best possible person, because that is also selling your team. Because whoever that person has worked with, when they see the person identifying with your company, it either brings up the integrity of your company with other persons or lowers the integrity. So you need to be very deliberate on your choices of association. Okay, thank you for watching today's video. Don't forget to keep on leveling up, and see you in my next video.